This is Mike Lindell. I'm sure you guys probably know exactly who he is, but if you're not familiar, let me give you a little bit of a summary. He's an election denier, a multimillionaire, owner of My Pillow. In fact, some people call him Mike Pillow, or just Pillow for short. He is absolutely obsessed with Donald Trump, and obsessed with the idea that Donald Trump really secretly won the election and there was a ton of fraud, which, of course, there wasn't, but he believes there was. Check this clip out. He's out here making the rounds on the media. This is actually on his TV show, The Lindell Report. Just give a little bit of context before we actually watch this clip. There was an election in Brazil recently. Bolsonaro is the current president, and he's kind of like the Brazilian Donald Trump. He was running against Lula. Lula da Silva, I think is his name. Lula da Silva is not a far-right extremist, although I think people generally believe him to be kind of a questionable candidate, kind of like a Hillary Clinton, if you will. Not the biggest fan of him, generally speaking. Nobody really knew if Bolsonaro was going to try to run a coup against the state and stay in power despite losing the election. No one knew what was going to happen. Complete radio silence from Bolsonaro for 48 hours after the election. And finally, he came out and said he would cooperate with a peaceful transition. Now, knowing Bolsonaro, knowing the fact that he spent the previous, 6 months leading up to the election instilling questions and phobias and fears and suspicions about the election and whether or not people are going to cheat in it and all that stuff, just like Donald Trump did. Knowing that he did that, I was sure that he was going to try to hold power whether he won or lost. I think the only reason Bolsonaro didn't attempt to hold power is because he found out that the people he needs to help him hold power were not willing to, like the military, for example, but who knows? Who knows for sure? Anyway, he says he's going to cooperate with a peaceful transition of power. But we have old Mike Lindell coming out here, doing what he does, and instilling skepticism and fears and questions in people about the election, as usual. Now he's focusing in on the Brazilian election, not just the American elections. Listen to this.
Remember, we were watching the Brazil election. Our cyber guys were watching, and they took that we know of was 5.1 million votes.
The election was won by Lula by such a slim margin. Oh my God, it was like 1% or 2%. Oh, it was so close. Bolsonaro almost did win, and 5 million votes probably would have kicked it over to the edge to Bolsonaro, which is probably why Mike Lindell picked that number. I'm just wondering what he means when he says his cyber guys were watching the results and discovered 5 million votes going missing? Really? What does that mean exactly? I would love it if he could elaborate, get specific. How does he know 5 million votes were stolen? The fact is, he doesn't. He's making this up, as usual. This is Mike Lindell's MO. This is what he's famous for, making up on a regular basis. Unfortunately, the things that he makes up are destructive to democracy, not just in America, but in Brazil too now. They're destructive to democracy, period. And it's honestly disgusting that he's out here saying the stuff that he's saying. But anyway, let's keep listening and see what else he had to say about this.
That we know of was 5.1 million votes, and through the machines. Remember, everybody, over there, as Brandon looks for that, in Brazil, I'm friends with their the president's son, Eduardo Bolsonaro. He's also a friend of the station. His dad is the president there, they tried to get paper put in where at least the machines would you'd hit a button and it would print out a paper copy so that you could do an audit. That got voted down by the corrupt judges. So the judges over there voted that down.
A lot of the things that Mike Lindell says are completely made up. I don't know anything about the political system there, and I don't know if this is true or not. If Mike Lindell is saying it, I'm automatically skeptical. I don't know that Mike Lindell is telling the truth. Probably not, honestly. And if it is true, I'm sure that there are reasons for it. Aside from all of that, everything's got to be a conspiracy with this guy. Everything. Everyone is conspiring to work against Mike Lindell and the far right. I haven't seen a persecution complex this severe since Greg Locke, honestly.
We don't want a paper trail. So they have peer machines, everybody. When I say peer machine, there's no paper. It's just a tap, boom, 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 boom. So whatever that tells you, whatever program's inside, here's who won. Ding, ding.
Yeah, so Mike Lindell is also famous for coming up with all kinds of conspiracies about how the election results were weighted, like votes were counted for one candidate twice as much as the other candidate, and all kinds of nonsense. Of course, Mike Lindell has to fabricate ridiculous nonsense conspiracy theories about Brazil. Any election he can get his hands on, he's going to come up with conspiracies about. It's honestly sad. Early November 2022, he comes out there on the Lindell Report, says this. Check it out.
And I'm telling everyone out there, we are watching from every angle. There's people in every state, every county, every precinct, Brandon.
This one's about the American election.
Remember, they might think you can't look and see what's going inside that black box, but we can now in real time through something called the Edison Report, everybody.
Oh, really? Okay, interesting. So Mike Lindell has access to what's inside of voting machines. I would love to know how he does that. Is there some program that he's installed on voting machines so that he can get real-time results? Or is he just trying to get his audience excited and interested so that they'll watch his show and believe him when he makes ridiculous claims?
We have cyber guys watching this. I looked at a thing today. It was on my Twitter back from November of 2020, and they showed CNN 20,000 votes dropping right off at Donald Trump's total in real time.
That's completely made up. At no point in time were votes dropping off of Trump's total. At no point. But Mike Lindell, it's like a deep need in this guy. In his heart, he needs to make shit up about elections. I don't know what it is. His mom didn't let him vote enough as a child. I don't know. Something weird with this guy's emotional state when it comes to voting.
You guys, votes don't go in reverse. These are...
No, they don't. It didn't happen.
Computer manipulation algorithms. So what I'm telling you is this election, it's all eyes. We have all the camera angles. Now everyone would say, well, Mike, why are you telling the bad guys right now? Well, I'm telling them, Brandon, because the way I look at it.
Okay, Brandon didn't ask. Okay, lay it on me. Why are you telling us this?
I'm telling them, Brandon, because the way I look at it, it's gonna be a win-win, because the ones where we can override the algorithms are gonna be there. They're gonna win, and then also the ones they don't. All of it, we got it all under camera. Well, maybe this time around, the judges and the left media and maybe even the right media, Fox News and Newsmax, will actually report if there's machines that are involved in this election to steal another election. I kind of have my doubts because they didn't report anything in the primaries.
Well, here's the interesting thing about how all of this works. The reason they're not talking about it in Newsmax, Fox News, and the others, the reason they're not talking about, like, Dominion, flipping votes the way that Mike Lindell is claiming, is because Dominion Voting Systems is suing, I think, Fox News, I think Newsmax, but at the very least, Sidney Powell and Mike Lindell, suing them for $1 billion. $1 billion. That's a lot of money, dude. Here's what's going to be adjudicated in that court case. Whether or not Dominion Voting Systems actually flipped votes the way that Mike Lindell claimed. This is a defamation case. If Mike Lindell could prove that Dominion Systems are actually flipping votes that way, then he would be able to get out of this $1 billion mess that he's found himself in. Dude's only worth $600 million, so they're taking the whole pillow company. Slippers and all, but... But if he can actually prove anything that he's said, if he can substantiate a single thing, he's off the hook. That's why Fox News and Newsmax and OAN and all the others are not talking about Dominion Voting Systems flipping votes and all that stuff, because it's not true, and they know Dominion Voting Systems are willing to sue the out of anybody who claims something that isn't true. That's why they're not talking about it.
Or anything in the primaries. When the primaries, do you think Fox News reported that nice Democrat lady and her husband that got 0 votes in her own precinct?
I actually know about this. Let me tell you what happened. This is what Mike Lindell does. He takes a grain of truth and he blows it up into something brand new, okay? There was a Democrat who was running in a district, and in one of the areas got 0 votes, which made no sense. She should have gotten at least a few thousand votes, because in every single other district, she got the votes. So they go through and they find that there was an error in the system. They fixed the error and found that she actually did receive like thousands of votes. So fixed the error, they tabulated, they counted up all the votes, they did the hand count and all the other stuff, and it was all corrected. Boom, just like that. No conspiracy, no secret thing that people set out to change votes and manipulate this thing or that thing or make her lose. It was a Democrat in the first place. He's calling her a nice lady, as if he has any respect for this person. She was a Democrat. Dude hates this person. Suddenly, he's on her side because there was some weird voting error that everybody recognized immediately and was resolved immediately. Anyway, this dude is this is what he does. He comes up with these single points that he thinks are knockout punches, and he blows it completely out of proportion. This happened in Georgia, I think. Keep listening to what he says here.
Her husband that got 0 votes in her own precinct. Do you think they reported that, Brandon?
No.
It was reported, and it was fixed. Actually, it was reported by AP News. There was nothing like spectacular or crazy or special about the situation. It was resolved immediately.
They reported that, Brandon?
No.
Do you think Chris Ruddy at Newsmax reported the lady down in Georgia that got 4,700 votes and she wasn't even on the ballot?
No.
That was the same exact situation. What is he even talking about? He's talking about the same exact situation. This all happened in Georgia. There's a single glitch in a single voting machine, and it was fixed. They had the hand tallies, they had all the stuff they needed to figure all of this out, and it was resolved. He's trying to take a single example of a single unintentional glitch, claim that it was all intentional, that it was all set up by the deep state, and that we have no way of knowing how many votes other people got or whatever, as if we didn't hand count pretty much every single vote that Donald Trump got and that Joe Biden got, to guarantee that it was actually correct. The 2020 election was scrutinized into the ground because of people like Mike Lindell. If anybody ever had any questions, they could very easily request a hand count. Boom, just like that. And it has happened. There have been requests for hand counts. He's acting like it's some big conspiracy. It blows me away that people actually believe this guy. Before we continue, I just wanted to mention something. If you like what I do and you want to see me continue to do it, you can support me in a few ways. First, there's Patreon. That's probably the best way. But if you want to get something back for your support, you can check out my Teespring. Or you can check out my Telltale Unfiltered channel. I go through long-form, unhinged sermons from all kinds of people, from Hank Kunneman to Greg Locke to Jehovah's Witnesses. So give it a look. Links are in the description. Okay, now back to the video. He goes up there to Sioux City, Iowa, to talk to this guy, Brian. I forget his last name, but this guy on the right, the dude he's talking to right now, got a little secret for you guys. You know how Marjorie Taylor Greene is in the middle of a divorce right now? Here's some juicy gossip for you. Marjorie Taylor Greene's husband comes out and says their relationship is irreparably damaged and they have to be divorced. That's it. Marjorie Taylor Greene has not been seen separated from this guy for like weeks. They've been together constantly. They're always going everywhere together. This guy on the right here, interviewing Mike Lindell. That's interesting, right? Is he a special friend of Marjorie's? Who could possibly stomach being with somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene? I certainly couldn't. Anyway, listen to what Mike Lindell said to this guy. Dude's name's Brian.
Where will you be election night?
I will be in Tennessee at our studios for Frank's speech. I will be there. I'm going to have we have 2 studios, and I'm going to have the real-time crime desk with cyber guys, so you can tune in to Lindell TV and watch. And you want to see what's happening with your candidate or whatever if it's getting stolen in real time. Well, this.
Oh, right. Because Mike Lindell has that special stuff in every voting machine that allows him to see inside of that voting machine when votes are being flipped, right? What was it? Edison report or some other nonsense? Right, okay. So he's got cyber guys, whoever that is and whatever that even means, who are sitting there watching vote tallies come in when people press the button on the screen, as if what he's describing wouldn't be so deeply illegal if it were actually true. He's just trying to find some way to get people to tune into his election coverage, of course.
Well, this is what's going to happen I will say, when they try and steal, we're watching from every camera angle, and they're going to do it. And when they do it, we're going to, on the morning of the 9th, if ones are counted, ones that aren't counted, everything's going to stand out. And if they don't, here's what we can pray for. We can pray for that the media covers the deviations and anomalies. And I'm talking to Fox News, Newsmax, and the conservative media. They better start reporting election crime, period.
Okay, awesome. Well, if there was any actual verifiable election crime, I'm sure they would. There hasn't been. But did you notice what he said there? Listen to this again.
I will say, when they try and steal.
Who is they? Are they in the room with us right now, Mike? This dude is unhinged. Oh my God. This is nuts. Where is this guy's head, dude? Seriously, this is crazy. Here is Marjorie Taylor Greene's special friend, if you know what I mean. Again, speaking with Mike Lindell. And I'm not sure who this is on the left. I don't remember. These two people are a couple of reporters for RSBN that go around to every Trump rally and interview, like, Trump extremists all the time. Hang on. I have a bunch of clips of these two guys. I'm talking the dude on the right, Brian, and the woman on the left. I have a bunch of clips of them. Yeah, totally. These two right here. I didn't realize it was the same people. Oh, my God, dude. These two people are absolutely nuts. I can't believe Marjorie Taylor Greene may or may not have a thing with this guy.
We've said this before. I want to know where the left is gathering on a Sunday afternoon,
right,
and having this many people show up.
Church, maybe? Do you ever consider that one? Church? On a Sunday afternoon. Where's the left gathering on a Sunday afternoon? Church didn't click in his head, did it?
They're not.
They're not. They're having praise and worship music and the whole bit. They're not having that. It's not happening.
God, these people, dude. Anyway, Christina Bobb is the anchor, also a Trump lawyer. Oh my God, thank you so much for mentioning. I didn't realize that was Christina Bobb. And the other was Brian something. Well, anyway, yeah, that's fascinating. Had no idea. Christina Bobb actually ducked out of being a lawyer, and I believe she got her own lawyer, from my understanding. Could be incorrect on that. But yeah, thanks for pointing that out. I didn't realize that was Christina Bobb. Yeah. So let's listen to Marjorie Taylor Greene's special friend talk to Mike Lindell here.
Encourage everyone to vote the day of the election, not before. Very important, everybody. The media is all over there attacking me for telling you all that. If you get a mail-in vote or whatever, mail-in ballot, just bring it with you to make sure. If they tell you, oh, you already voted, say, no, I didn't, and you go to your local sheriff. Sheriffs and judges, I believe, are going to bring this country back.
Like, as if a sheriff is going to give a about you bringing in an absentee ballot or like a mail-in ballot or whatever and telling them that you voted in person instead. Like, who cares? Who cares about any of this, first of all? And second, Mike Lindell is absolutely right. Sheriffs and judges, or more broadly, local politicians, are what the whole system hinges on right now. We need to vote in local elections. I know people generally don't care about local elections. It is so important that we vote in local elections. National elections are significantly less important. Your vote is drowned out on a national stage by all of the other people. Local elections are where it's at. You should be voting in every single local election. Go down to school boards and vote in the school boards. Go down to city council meetings, vote in those, speak at them. Seriously, you got to get involved in this stuff. This is how you do it. You want to know how you reverse the tide and how you stop the ridiculousness from happening? Right here, this is it. Exactly what Lindell is describing here. Judges and sheriffs are going to take the country back. We need to prevent these people from putting in extremists in those positions. We need to vote in local elections.
They just gave me a little badge, Brian.
I love it.
I'm semi-official.
You are so.
No, he isn't. You know, have you guys ever seen The Office? You remember when, if you've ever seen The Office, you'll recognize this. You remember when Michael was at, like, the christening of the baby, and he was, like, pretending to be a godfather. He was using the godfather voice. He was like, yeah, I'll give you an offer you can't refuse. And Pam kept saying, I'm sorry, I need you to say these words. You're not the Godfather. He's like, yeah, I'm not the Godfather. She's like, no, I need you to say it. I'm sorry. Say the words. You're not the Godfather. He's like, I'm not the Godfather. I feel like that's the situation we're in right now with Mike Lindell.
Going to bring this country back. They just gave me a little badge, Brian.
I love it.
I'm semi-official.
I need you to say the words to me, Mike. I'm sorry I have to do this. Say the words to me. You know you're not official, right? This guy's ridiculous on so many levels, but oh my God, is it entertaining to sit here and watch him just wind himself up with the crazy conspiracy theories he comes up with. I'm just deeply entertained by this. Let me know what you think about this and if you want to see more stuff like this in the comments.